Who do we listen to? Men and women who have done what we're trying to do, that already have what we're trying to obtain, that are already being who we're trying to be. Like, why do people take directions from somebody they ain't never been where you trying to go? Who do you listen to? Usually you want to follow after somebody that already has and is doing what you want to do on a level that you fucking really admire, right? If you were to pick a mentor, might as well pick a good one. Brothers and sisters, we can't thank you enough for all your love, your support, and your faithfulness. It's been brought to my attention, if you really want to do something to bless us, to thank us, apparently simply hitting the like button on YouTube would be more impactful than what I ever knew, let alone subscribing to us on YouTube if you're not already. And then over on Spotify and Apple, please leave us a review. All of your listening and your comments to us mean the world to us. And do us a favor and just hit like on YouTube and leave us reviews on Spotify and Apple. And we're going to continue to serve you with our whole heart. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for tuning in again tonight. We have heard you. Or actually, we're about to, because Hip selected not to hear you. He wants to hear you with you for the first time. Meaning, we've been asking you guys to send in voice messages via DM. Ask us anything you'd like us to talk about on the show. And Hip came up with the idea tonight because we were sitting here curious. Mike, have we gotten messages? What are they? Mike was about to read them, and Hip's like, I don't want to hear them. Let's just go live on the show. Mike, hook up a microphone for yourself and read them one at a time on the fly with no pre-production, no preparation. Hip and I are going to attempt to do our best to respond to your questions right here live on the show.
Shit should be pretty fucking interesting.
I love it. Hip, he ain't scared of nothing. So we've got our producer, Mike, Mr. Mike Ciernoyatsky.
Sir. Noyatsky.
To read all of our... Or you're going to hit play? You're going to do a little bit of both?
Yep.
Play or read, because I think we got some text too, right?
Yeah. Mainly audio.
Okay, great. Drop it.
Cool.
And then if the person doesn't introduce themselves, should we shout out who this is? And
Yeah, we can do that.
Great. Let us know.
What up, guys? Jordan here. I got a question for you following your last podcast. I want to know, what do you guys think is going to be the next innovative benchmark in tattoo history? With the new emergence of the tattoo, or the coalition of tattoo safety, I think that there's going to be a huge cultural push in the industry focused on artists' health and avoiding injuries, and implementing best practices because of that. And it's going to facilitate more standardization and then legitimacy. And I feel like that legitimacy will make a big difference on the governing bodies that put laws on the tattoo industry that might not even understand what the industry is about. So that's my question for you guys.
Okay, which almost seemed like more than one question in there. First of all, thank you, Jordan. Shout out to our brother, Jordan. On Instagram, if I remember correctly, he is the tattoo hand therapist.
And
Right.
Ink Ergonomics as well.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
He's Ink Ergonomics as well?
I think Ink Ergonomics maybe is business.
Yeah.
But I do believe I've seen an IG handle with that. But he definitely is the tattoo hand therapist.
Yep.
And yeah, great dude.
Very knowledgeable. I got
Very.
to meet him. Did you get to meet him too?
Nope,
Yeah.
not yet. I've
Yeah.
just been in correspondence with him, and he sent us some gifts. You know, the Tattoo Guardians, he sent us some gifts.
Yeah.
Little hand thing I sleep with at night, you know, for just taking care and you know, fucking carpal tunnel shit, you know,
Yeah.
to keep it from happening, basically. And tools to, like, work out fucking weird shit that goes on in your hands. I don't know the science behind it. He totally does.
Mm-hmm.
He's very informative. And I appreciate
is.
what he was saying, like, about the governing laws that be about, you know, physical health and well-being and good ergonomics for tattoo artists, which, I've been going to the chiropractor. I've just committed to 36 weeks. I'm at 12 weeks now. I've invested in a new chair for my clients for better support for me. I'm looking at different things because ultimately I want to do this for a long time.
Yeah.
So yeah,
And his passion, because he is very knowledgeable, but his passion, he feels called to the tattoo industry to help us, and he sees the gap that a lot of us don't even pay attention or really know what the fuck we're doing in the name of taking care of ourselves, let alone prevention.
right.
We're just fucking grinding it. I mean, there's years in my career I went so hard, instead of trying to prevent or take care of myself, I'd just eat painkillers and keep going, right? Well, how sustainable is that? And that's just a big old fucking Band-Aid lying to myself that I'm not hurting myself, right? So that's definitely wasn't sustainable for me. Now, being older in age, I'm being forced to take shit like this serious and take a look at it. And I'm thankful for brothers like Jordan, the tattoo hand therapist on IG, to really help us all. You listeners, I would give that man a follow, and especially if you've got aches and pains in wrist, back pains, neck, whatever. Man, he's so helpful, and he's got you. And I would go as far as to say, if you don't, good, you might want to follow him to keep it that way, right? But to his overall question, how did he pose it? Like, what do you think?
Like the next big breakthrough?
Yeah.
Which I've got one, and we touched on it last week. But yeah, as soon as I heard him pose the question, like, my thing is, like, I've noticed a lot. We talked about it with Mez. And then before that, no, it was with Mez. Yeah, it was last week about the AI art generator thing.
Oh, yeah.
And there's also, I was listening to another podcast, and they're talking about an AI rapper that just got signed to Capitol Records, but 3 days later lost his record deal because he's too offensive. I guess, he's dropping
For real?
Dropping the N-bomb, and like he's a robot, so he ain't got no right to use it, and other like offensive things it's doing.
Wow.
So it lost its record deal. But
Oh my God, are you for real?
so serious, dude. His name is FN Mecca or YN Mecca, something like that.
Okay.
But yeah, so like the AI thing seems like it's going to be pretty cool. Midland, and then I think Josh said the other one was what did he say?
Mid-Journey.
Yeah, I said Midland. Midwife. Are you familiar? Yeah, Mid-Journey, and he said that there was another one. I can't remember what he said. So,
And we're already on the brink and the cusp of those big things. Next big things breaking through, whatever. They're already here.
Right.
We're just converting and transitioning over to our awareness and ability utilization of them. Like NFTs, for example. We could say they're going to be the next big thing. Well, they already are here. Now it's us growing and figuring out, how to implement them into our business. And I've yet to. But there's guys like Jesse Smith's big into them, stuff like that. So I'd say NFTs on the list. Like you bring up AI. Even for us as artists, I think it's going to broaden our ability to do our pre-production, then come up with designs and shit. Like we'll do whatever we usually always do, designing your sleeve. But especially the times we feel stuck, the ability to go to an AI to see what AI can come up with to make us unstuck or even elaborate what we did. I mean, my God, it used to be, let's Google search images, then Pinterest. Now with AI, who knows what type of reference material we could have at the touch of our fingertips. And to bring that up, shout out to Dave Liebert, who's a good fucking brother out of Chicago, Unbreakable Inc. Brother David Lieber is such a golden soul. He's also a current student of ours in Tattoo Business Mastery. And he created me an AI painting. And he said all he did was prompted it with words. And the AI, the bot, whatever, painted it. And I brought it tonight here to show you all. This is completely done by apparently a computer. Or artificial intelligence. And he says, man, I created this using only words, prompting an AI bot. No alterations, direct from words to canvas. And here is what he said. What would it look like to help others grow, realize their full potential, and live their best life? David Liebert, August 10th, 2022. And then he further says a Bruce Lee quote, which goes like this. The usefulness of the cup is its emptiness. And then he proceeds to thank us for this podcast and TBM. It totally changing his life. David, I love and appreciate you. I see you. Thank you. This is history in the making. The first ever AI painting I've ever owned. First one anyone's ever sent us on this show. Mm-hmm. Shout out to our brother, David Liebert. So that's probably going to be some breakthrough shit that, again's already here.
Right.
You know. Awesome, Mike. Who else? What else we got?
Let's see. We have Dusty Ryer.
I think he's another brother from TBM. Go ahead.
Hey guys, my name is Dusty Ryer. I'm a new TBM student this coming July. I don't really have any questions. I just wanted to thank the three of you individually for what you're doing. It's been a huge help. I suffered a lot from the imposter syndrome, so everything you guys do helps a lot, so thank you.
My God. I love that man in his heart.
And I like that message because I don't know if you guys could hear the birds in the background, but that was pretty fucking dope.
For real?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, we know who he is, and we appreciate you reaching out and dropping a message and just the acknowledgement. So thank you.
Shout out to our brother Dusty Rear from Inviticus Inc. And he's here and close to us and out of Greenville, Ohio. And he is a current TBM student. Inviticus Tattoos. And he's actually an artist and the owner. And now TBM family. And my God, what a beautiful message. He ain't even asking us a question. He's just using that to acknowledge us. We see you, Dusty. Thank you, brother. Big time.
What else we got, Mike?
Next
Don't
up,
be scared to read nothing now.
Next up, we have Chuck Day Tattoos.
Okay.
Chuck.
Today's episode was super interesting, listening to the story of Joshua and how he got started in the business and stuff. But I'm curious about what era the super goth fucking punk hardcore kid started breakdancing and waving and pop locking and shit. Because he alluded to the fact that he could dance in a different one. And I'm just wondering, what era was he raving? I want to see Joshua Carlton with fucking glow sticks and shit, because that's really piquing my interest right now. Anyway, you guys are awesome. Have a good day. Peace.
Thank you, brother Chuck Day. And even Josh isn't with us tonight, so obviously we can't answer for him or speak for him. But I, being almost the same age as Josh, I am apparently a little older, right? Or am I young?
I don't know. It's fucking, your guys' numbers are up there, so it just gets hard to.
But check it. I can say this because I'm from the same camp, the same era as Josh. He did not go from a goth kid to a raver. No, neither. We are the OGs of breakdancing. We were alive when it hit the set and was invented and came out first. And we talking 80s, like 1982, fucking boombox, cassette tape, throw in Houdini, 5 minutes of funk, break out the cardboard box, throw in some parachute pants, and fucking then you pop and lock, right? And we didn't have the glow sticks. It wasn't raving then. It was fucking break dancing. 82, 83, 1984, 85. You know, and that was the era before even gangster rap was born. Mm-hmm. You know, gangster rap came just a few years later. Like bands like NWA fucking changed everything. But leading up to that, it was breakdancing, and then even like a little bit later was like Rob Bass. Then you had Digital Planets. You know, Digital Underground, before it went into gangster rap. So I'm guessing when Josh hit his goth phase, that was years later, maybe teenage years. But in 1982, 83, and 84, Josh and I were kids breakdancing. It's only generations after us that carried breakdancing into the rave scene, and now all of a sudden breakdance rolling on E, and now you hold glow sticks. But that wasn't us. We the OGs of breakdancing.
And you know what? Hearing that, I'm wondering because like he labeled a plethora of fucking different. He was like goth, punk rock, break dance, and he even talked about. And he was like, when was Josh Raven with glow sticks? So he could be alluding to like he's done all these fucking other things from fucking metal to fucking hip hop. Yeah. When was he actually like in the rave, fucking wearing UFOs and jelly bean bracelets and fucking with glow sticks and
I don't think Josh was ever that guy. I thought Chuck was thinking if you're a breakdancer, then that means you have glow sticks and are a raver.
Right.
This generation, that's the only people who breakdance are people with glow sticks rolling on E at a rave, right? But again, we come from the origin, the birthplace history, hitting it in the 80s of breakdancing. And that's, again, without speaking too much for Josh, but I just know the era. But yeah, maybe we'll repose that when Josh is on and see how he answers it.
Or maybe that is yet to come. Maybe that's what he'll transition into fucking next year or so.
Josh,
I want to see country Josh, cowboy hat, big belt buckle, fucking Travis Tritt Josh.
Okay, what else we got? Thank you, brother Chuck Day, and thank you guys for playing full on out with us. This is fun.
Next up, I do not have a name, but I can find that later.
Can we get a Joshua Carlton movie, bro? This story is insane, and I don't tattoo. I don't really know much about the world, but relating it and cross-applying it to my art and my journey, that's so powerful. So thanks for sharing. We need a movie, bro.
I love it.
Yeah. So it's cool. So shout out to Anonymous, whoever you are, that doesn't even tattoo or know too much about the industry. I appreciate that because it's like, but that's dope. Because I've heard of like therapists like listen to us. Some of my clients listen to us. Some other people will play us, and then their clients will hear it in a tattoo shop and then go out and listen to us. So it's always cool to hear someone that's not a fucking tat daddy or tat mama fucking listening to our shit. My parents don't even listen to this.
They don't?
No. They don't.
Right.
They don't know how to fucking interweb and shit,
Well, I know of several people that used to listen to us until we kept dropping the F-bomb like you just did 5 times in a row.
Hell yeah.
There's some folks that was like, man, we tried listening, but just all that cuss, and it just really hurt our spirit. We couldn't, I'm like, oh, okay. Okay, who else, Mike?
Fuck.
All right, up next is Rel.
Rel. R-E-L-L?
Yep.
Dude, I just got done watching the episode with Joshua Carlton, and I see how you guys were mentioning, like, feeling not good enough, or, to be tattooing and everything, and I definitely feel that way sometimes. Maybe right now, actually. I was struggling, trying to get people in my chair, like, it's only me, so I'm in a private studio and just trying to, develop clientele, develop my craft, and work on my art while going through life. And it's sort of it's draining in a sense, but I still want to keep going and producing and living. So, yeah.
That it?
Yep.
Cool. I couldn't hardly hear that one, and I know our listeners will be able to hear it. Are you gonna edit that in later, or are you just thinking your mic's picking that up?
It is picking it up, but you want me to play it again?
Well, did you hear it enough?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I heard the beginning. He's talking about almost sounds like he's thankful for helping overcome imposter syndrome, feeling like he don't even feel good enough like to be a tattoo artist? And he's like, I feel like that sometimes. Then I heard him say, kind of like right now.
Right, yeah, struggling to get clients in his chair. He only works by himself. It's just a struggle. He's on the struggle bus, basically.
Yeah.
He works by himself, fucking.
And he's on the relating bus because he's relating to the struggle that we
Right.
broke down.
Right, and he appreciates like hearing Josh even talk about that as well.
Yeah.
Because a lot of these came in when we did Josh's, I think, part 1 of his story.
So there wasn't a question there. He's just kind of acknowledging us and thanking us for the message.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. Brother, we're right there with you. I mean, even though we had those episodes, have you struggled with self-worth or imposter syndrome since?
Oh, yeah, and just like Rel said right now,
Yeah.
but it's like feelings aren't always reality. So it's like, yeah, I'm feeling it.
Yeah.
And I'm aware I'm feeling it, and I now have a label for what that is, imposter syndrome. So it's like, okay, do I fucking continue to go down that fucking rabbit hole of not doing nothing about it, or like consciously making an effort to fucking shift and like stay in the doing?
Yeah.
You know?
And
'Cause-
realize your feelings aren't always reality.
Exactly. So it's like, those I don't know I'm not in anybody else's head, but those are always my two options. It's like do or do not. And doing be, yeah.
Or buy the lie that I'm not even allowed to be, right? But it still comes down to the choice to be, do, and have, right?
Yeah, totally. I didn't come this far to come this far. You know, if I'm already here, like, then I must be deserving of something. I must be here for a reason, you know?
Come on, man.
So fucking keep going.
That's it.
And like, what are some things I can do better? Like, we do this podcast and, Gear Spin, like, how can we make this more convenient or easy on us, or more like a well-oiled machine? I'm picking up a round shader. I'm not sure exactly if I'm approaching this the right way. What are some seminars, some artists I can look at and go and pay for and study under to see if I'm doing this right? Like, what books can I read? What YouTube channels can I watch? Like, what podcasts can I listen to like better grasp this, versus like just sitting there and contemplating like, oh yeah, I probably ain't shit.
When you and I both know your scales are broken, like, what are you even weighing yourself out on?
Mm-hmm.
Scales that are like already fucking tipped.
I'll tell you what, a lot of times is like the shit talking that people did to me in the past, I took it on as like who I am and how it is, and took it as a belief. So a lot of times it's just that old shit coming back up, and it's still there.
Yeah, right.
But it doesn't mean that it has power just because it's still there. It only has power if I give it power. So
That's
fucking,
it.
I got to keep moving.
Yeah.
So I get it, fucking not feeling a certain way in the present moment.
Yeah.
Because I'm experiencing it now, just after hearing you are experiencing it right now as well. So, even tomorrow, this weekend, I'll go down and be at this tattoo convention, and the shit will creep in. Do I let it ride? No. I can observe it, and then let it pass and keep focused on the task at hand, which is like tattooing. If I didn't deserve it, why the fuck am I here doing this right now in this moment, the very thing that I say I don't deserve?
Come on.
And if I truly believe that, then why do I continue to fucking tattoo? Why don't I just give up, quit, and fucking sell my machine to the dude who's next to me in his booth, and then just fucking, I don't know, kick rocks?
Yep. I love that.
Because there's something inside of me that knows that, like, yeah, I'm supposed to be here. I'm supposed to be doing this. This is my personal legend. I need to keep following through with it. Even though the naysayers may be in my own mind, I still need to push through that.
That's so fucking good, dude. So good.
So you are not alone, Rel.
That's right. There's several years ago, I ran into a psychic shaman, and he, basically prophesied over my life. But one thing that I've had to lean on, and he warned me, and he said, Matt, in the coming years, a lot's going to change in your life. You're building business, you're doing all these things, and you will find yourself surrounded by greatness. You will find yourselves at the seat of the table with other people that you view are better than you, more successful, got more power, got more money, more success, whatever. And you're going to feel insecure, intimidated, and think the thought to yourself, why me? I don't belong here. I'm not good enough, right? Like we all do. And he told me, Matt, just know that you are supposed to be there. You are supposed to be at that table. You are worthy. And I've had to lean on that because everything he said has come true, including me dealing with, why me? How am I good enough to do this, or be here to do this podcast? But like you said, we're here, right?
Right.
I love it. Happy where our feet are. Yeah, very cool. Thank you, brother.
Up next, Matlock
The Matlock?
_ Lopez, possibly.
Okay.
What's up, fellas? It's Matlock Lopes, longtime listener, first time caller. I'm just here to give you guys some ideas what I think would be for good content for you guys. One of them is just evaluation of a shop and what a shop offers. A lot of people go to a shop and it might be 50-50 or whatever the percentage is, but they don't take into account how much they're able to charge at that shop, what the shop offers, and all these other variables. So, you know, basically you could have really good pay at a really, you know, shop that's giving you the world, but if they're not bringing clientele in and they're not offering all this stuff, yeah, you might be paying a low booth rent or a, you know, getting a high percentage, but you're not getting what you deserve. So basically, how to tell what you're getting deserve, like how can you tell what you deserve? And basically analyzing, you know, risk, all this stuff that what a shop will offer you. You know, you could be making 70%, the shop could be getting 30%. If you're only charging $100 an hour, you know, what is that? Versus if you're making 50-50 and you're able to charge $300 an hour, you know, yeah, you might be paying the shop more, but because of the work they've done to get the people in the door, how do you evaluate that? I hope that helps.
Yeah, so
also, another idea would be to share how to stage your career, whether that's becoming a flash artist or a custom artist, and how do you take these steps to knowing when to charge more and when to do a bigger piece and when to try all this stuff. Like basically teach them the ratio of, you know,
okay, hang on. Pause that. There's a lot to unpack in that first half. And it sounded like he slapped a dab midway through. So I'm trying to like bring it together.
Well, for starters, the easy answer is that brother needs to just join TBM and we'll teach him all that.
Right. And I don't know if he's coming from the view of he's the artist in search of the said shop,
yeah,
or he's the shop owner trying to get a better blueprint.
From the view of the artist in search of the shop, and how do you weigh out, I forget the exact word he used,
like they offer you the world but the clientele ain't there, or they don't offer you that much but there's more clientele, so it's almost like,
and their money beliefs on even their rates. You know, he used the word, what if you go to a shop and like they dictate what you can and cannot charge, like you're not allowed to charge anymore because none of us here charge over that much, and
right.
You know, so yeah, I got some feedback on that, but do you want to speak to it or do you want me?
Well, I mean, hearing it, it's ultimately like if I'm looking at it like I'm looking for a shop, right? Mm-hmm. One, I don't expect the shop to fill my books. I'm supposed to fill my books. I want to be independent. I don't want to just like the only way I'm eating is by the business that's coming into said shop, right. Because this is the greatest fucking job in the world. I can pack my shit right now and go anywhere and build my own clientele.
You can because you're equipped with the tools to do that. Right. So it depends on where you're at in the stage. But whether you depend on a shop to fill your books for you, then the question maybe is like, what type of shop is it? How busy are they? How renowned are they? How respected in the community are they? Are they, you know, all these things. That's why there's a lot in there. But I think it goes back two things. Number one, who do you listen to?
Right.
Right. Two, it depends on the artist he's describing and where are you at in your career on the aspect of how choosy and selective can you be? Like, have you like, or are you just humble and hungry, you know, like to be extra selective and picky, you know, depends on where you're at in your career for one.
No, you're talking talent wise as well. Like how good of a tatter you are.
Yeah. Experience wise, you know, for you to like judge anyone else, like what room do you have and what have you already built yourself, or how developed are you? But even someone who's starting out at the beginning, it's still always important to decide who do we listen to.
Right.
Right. And even if here in Dayton, there's God knows how many shops, who do you listen to? So yes, most people are going to be attracted to the shop that seems like they're actually doing something, actually already successful. Or at least that's the way we roll. Like, who do we listen to? Men and women who have done what we're trying to do, that already have what we're trying to obtain, that are already being who we're trying to be. Like, why do people take directions from somebody that ain't never been where you're trying to go? Who do you listen to? Usually you want to follow after somebody that already has and is doing what you want to do on a level that you fucking really admire, right? If you were to pick a mentor, might as well pick a good one. So that's one, and I think at any level, that is something to consider. But now if you're already a tattoo artist and now you're looking for a new shop home, because a big contingency, or at least a reference point he was using, is money, rates, and charging. One shop, you know, he used the scenario like one shop may not allow you to charge more than $100 an hour, but puts you on a 70-30 split. So now you're making $70 an hour. Versus if you went to another shop and they're all $300 an hour, and now it's a 50-50 split. You don't have as high as a percentage, but now you're still making double at that shop at a 50-50 than when you're at the other shop on a 70-30. He's weighing out those comparisons, right? And again, to each their own. And so that's something to look at only after you've decided who you're going to listen to, because Bob Marley said it best. Some people are so poor, all they have is money. So I know it's probably just one angle he was bringing up is the money, the percentages, the cuts, the mindset of the people in the house, and what kind of rates do they have and their ability to get that off, all of that. But it still comes down to, instead of just trying to find the best money deal, it's still who do you listen to? Because who cares if these dudes know how to make money if they're dying on the inside, if the culture at the place sucks, if there's no sense of team and unity. Obviously, in the land of abundance, we want it all. We want a great fucking shop that's doing great things, surrounded by great people with a great culture and a great team and a great pay scale, all the above, instead of trying to weigh out either or. But I know if I went to a shop that made mad money, if their culture sucked and the leadership sucked, it wouldn't fucking matter.
You know, early on, before I started working with you, what I looked for, well, one, I got my foot in the door in a little shithole hole in the wall shop. Now, granted, the people that were in there were better than me at the time, as far as like, because I didn't know how to color blend. I didn't know what was the difference between fucking Bloodline Ink and Eternal. You know, I didn't know what proper coil machines, let alone any badasses in the cities surrounding me, or, you know, anybody other than maybe fucking Paul Booth or Bob Tyrell. I may have known them. Other than that, I just didn't have a clue. But what I did do is I knew what I wanted. What I wanted was to become a better tattoo artist. Money really wasn't even a big deal to me. So, like, I didn't pay attention when I went to the shop, like what the cut was or nothing. I just wanted to be in this industry and learn the craft. So I would see people that were better than me. I got in that shop. From there, I outgrew those people, still not even concerned with money, and then moved to where I seen some better people. And then that just continued to where I would keep putting myself in positions to learn from people that were better than me. And then ultimately, somewhere along the line in the maturing in the process, like running into you and actually like, you know, if you love to do something and you would do it for free and you start out doing it and you're passionate and you love it, it's just the ebb and flows. Money will follow that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And as money follows it, that just fuels your passion even more, because you're like, holy fuck, I get to do what I love every single day and get paid for it. And that matures into even better pay. And then you get a grasp of like, well, now I've got some credibility and some weight in the game that I can wager against things and maybe be picky here and there about some stuff. But early on for me, money and fucking percentages and booth rent and shit, I didn't know nothing about it, and I didn't really care. I just wanted to be a good tattoo artist, or tattooer, or whatever the fuck you want to call it. I just wanted to do that. Money, that would work itself out. And I don't know. It's matured into different things now, and like I can be pickier, and I've gained tools and knowledge along the way to understand how to position myself to be an authority and get what I believe that I'm worth anywhere I go.
That's right. And on the flip side, from like, now let's answer from shop owner standpoint. If someone wants to come work at our shop and those are your first questions, this interview's already over.
Right. There's actually someone local who
they did that.
Fucking
you know, somebody's been talking about they hate where they're at and all these stories, and they're not that good, but we can, with the right attitude, we can take someone average and make them great with the right attitude. And I decided to give this brother the time of day to even talk about the possibility, because we're always open to possibility. And his first was out of his mouth, well, how much are you going to pay me? You know what I'm saying? And I all of a sudden, I thought to myself, fucking, there's not enough now for someone to pay me to take you on. Like, never mind. You know what I'm saying? I didn't say that. But
and you even said, like, you know, when we were talking about it afterwards, you were like, well, you hang around all the people that hate us because what we charge and how we position ourselves in the industry. Like, so you ain't heard that fucking we don't.
We already make more than all of you. Why the fuck are you going to come at me like that?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But there was zero humility there. If you're, you know, it's one thing. If you're coming to our shop to ask for a job, then you might want to leave that out, or until after, you know, we've discussed character and hunger and your vision and your values and what you're trying to become as a real fucking tattooer. Then we can talk the semantics of pay and all that shit. But if you're coming to me asking me for a job, now it's one thing if I go and seek you out and ask you to come work for me. Then if you want to talk about pay, I get it, because I'm asking you to work for me. But if you're asking me to work for me, then, you know.
And to our listeners, keep this in mind. We're trying to leave tattooing better than we found it. So shop owners, quit fucking being thirsty and filling chairs with just anybody that's willing to show up and work and fucking tattoo. That's not leaving.
Unless you're willing to fucking roll your sleeves up and make those people great.
Right.
You can hire whoever you want, but and develop them, invest the time to make them great.
Which goes into the second part, because we're trying to leave tattooing better than we found it. And then in doing that and thinking the problem is going to work itself out is just bad leadership. Mm-hmm. So if you do that, then you have to be responsible for that, because if you want people to be successful, it's 100% on you shop owners to set them up for success.
And for all you listeners who maybe have heard us say that 100 times before, because we really believe it, but just to edify Hip for a minute, you know, and I don't agree with this statement, but I'm sure you have all heard a lot of people say that statement where it says, how you do anything's how you do everything, right? Now, I don't fully agree with that, but I get the point. And Hip lives his life by leaving it better than when he found it. Not just tattooing, but if he borrows your car, he's going to leave it better than how he found it. His tattoo booth at any convention, he's going to clean it after the weekend and taking hardware home, and he's worn out, hardly on no sleep. After he breaks down and packs his gear up, he's going to clean his booth and make it spotless. Pick up, there won't be one little piece of paper in there. He leaves everything better than when he found it. And so it validates he has the right to say such a thing because he lives it. But okay, he paused it. There was a second half of this.
Yep.
This dude's questioning. Hopefully that helps. Hopefully we kind of touched on an answer for him.
Yeah, and rerun back to Rel just to fucking acknowledge you again. While Matt was telling that shit, I was like over here unworthy as fuck, imposter syndrome like crazy. Like, well, there has been times when I left a piece of paper, you know. So I just instantly didn't feel worthy and deserving of it. But that's bullshit. I had to let it go. But I want to acknowledge that and show you that like this shit just keeps happening. It's
That's
just
right.
how we handle it when it shows up.
That's right.
So yeah.
Yeah. And to sum up what we tried to answer, like, because, dude, I'm all about having conversations around money. It's actually one of the greatest tools in our arsenal to fund our life and to be a blessing to the world. So don't get me wrong. I don't mind talking about money. I absolutely love it. It's just not the point when looking for your new home, looking for your new career, the new city, the new season, the new town. Yes, money will come, but money is an energy that follows you and who you are being. And I have found anyone that gets involved in anything just for the money loses. But like Hip was trying to break down, when you get into it for the passion and for the art and developing yourself, then the money follows that. So it's just where it's at on the hierarchy chain of your own mindset. But let's pretend you already know all that. Back to your question on how do you weigh it out. Still, the first thing I'd put on the scales is not their rates, not how much they charge, as much as who they are and how they operate. And that will be a direct finger pointer to where they're at and their relationship with money. And so even if your deciding factor is, this is a real cool shop, but the relationship with money really sucks and they live in the land of lack, well, then that would help you maybe decide. But it goes back to who do you listen to and why, and it's not just for what's in their wallet. It's what's in their head and their heart and in their portfolio and their relationships. And those who have life mastery are mastering their craft and their relationships, the money usually always follows. Hopefully that helps.
Part 2.
Part 2.
Also, another idea would be to share how to stage your career, whether that's becoming a flash artist or a custom artist, and how do you take these steps to knowing when to charge more and when to do a bigger piece and when to try all this stuff. Like basically teach them the ratio of, how fast are you booking, how booked are you, and then how much leeway and how much power do you have in dictating what your next move is, whether that's something artistically or even monetarily.
And that's so situational. It's knowing when and when not, and then even the how too. But he's asking when. When can someone jump up? When do you know it's time to level up? When can you start taking on bigger pieces? When do you know that you can raise your rates, right? He's asking when. But the answer is different depending on the individual or the artist. I will go as far as to say is the desires of your heart are foreknowledge of your future. There's so many of you out there that have been doing the same thing day in and day out, doing the same type of pieces. But the desire of your heart for a while now has been, like some guys decide, remember when Chris Powell, wanted to just go strictly to being a black and gray artist. He's a realism artist, did color jams, and was good at it. And I remember, you probably do too, when he wanted to just do only black and gray and go big oversized. And he battled with, when does he make that change, and was feared the transition. How many people's going to fall off? How many people's going to lose? It's going to hurt his bank account, right? And he eventually crossed over and made that switch and is so fucking successful doing large, oversized black and gray pieces, making more money than he's ever made. But when did he make the shift? It started with the desire, right? And so if you already are getting a desire, there's like an inkling that you're being prepared to make that switch, or else you wouldn't have the desire. Sometimes when you get the desire, now you have to grow and step into it and live into questions like, what does it look like? Even how do I make this transition? But the when has already begun the second it drops in your heart. But it's always different. How hungry are you? How can you attract the right people and resources in your life to help you make that jump? Because when Chris had that desire, he was surrounded by other people who believed in supporting him, like me and you, that nurtured him in that decision-making process and be like, bruh, jump. Like, there's never a perfect timing. There's never a perfect day. This is where imperfect action comes in. And you must take the steps towards the direction that your heart's already desiring, even though not everyone's going to see you, even though you're not going to get permission from everyone. You must get in the doing, and the how will reveal itself once you start taking the steps. So what do you think?
Well, I'm going to attack it differently. I'm going to attack it through technique and technical ability. So, like, was it, and I may be wrong with this, but was Timmy B like a realism artist before he started doing all his new school shit?
I don't know.
Because then maybe it's not him, but there was somebody who was...
I remember Nick Woods, or Josh, was it Josh Woods? He used to be in Nashville, now he's in California. We should be careful throwing names around and not being fucking...
knowing our fucking history.
Yeah.
But the point is there was an artist who was a realism artist and decided to like do trad or new school or something and then just completely switch. And I think Grimes done that a few times, like who would always switch styles and just do something different and completely opposite of what he was doing prior to that. But the point that I'm making is like, man, I know like some artists that are like some trad artists and want to flip to being realism and fucking have never attempted to fucking do a portrait on paper and now they're trying to do it on skin. Don't fucking do that. Or a fucking realism artist who wants to go trad and fucking can't run lines for shit. Like, don't do that. Like, get your fundamentals down. Like, because what I'm trying to get at is like, if you suck at fucking running lines and your shading blows ass and like your desire is now to fucking do like big oversized fucking Arlo tattoos of fucking double exposure and faces and ships fucking floating out of foreheads and shit, like that's cool, but like, can you even do it on paper, I guess is what I'm trying to address. Because like everything that Matt said is 100% accurate. Like all the internal shit is pointing in certain directions, but like
you got to be able to walk it out and back it up.
Exactly. Like, be good at being an artist. Like, you know, if you're a shit truck, and look at it honestly, because, like, there were times when I thought I was doing some dope shit. But if I was to look at it honestly, like, I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. But I did always have the desire to become a good, realistic color artist. Mm-hmm. And instead of, like, putting the fucking horse or the buggy in front of the horse, I did what I guess would be proper steps. Is like I tightened up my technical side and I got good and I got to a point to, again, having some credibility to like position myself to start living into that dream.
You're right. And it's both. It's internal and external. You got to have both, you know, because I've shared this on the show before. You know, I was already on walls, on canvas, developed a realism artist. Mm-hmm. Wasn't the best in the world, still am not, but I was a realism artist before I picked up a tattoo machine. Once I became an apprentice, I wanted to be a realism artist. Someone gave me the arbitrary number that I'm not even allowed to attempt realism, definitely not a portrait, until I had 7 years under my belt, right? Well, if I'd have listened to that limitation, they put a limit on me. Mm-hmm. You can't do shit for 7 years. You got to master the basics. Now we know mastering the basics is fucking real important.
Lifelong.
And we also know that I could stand it had made me even better realism artist if I would have mastered the basics better with my saturation and all that. You've even said it before. If I had better saturation, I'd been unstoppable, right? But I was already a realism artist. Well, thank God. But the desire in my heart, so I didn't allow someone else's opinion because I had some technical to back it up. And 16 months later, I won Tattoo of the Day for a portrait I did of Ani DeFranco, and I became a realism artist in under 2 years versus 7. I followed the desire of my heart as my technical ability, but I was able to back it up. So you do need both.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And sometimes, let a dude dude that wants to be a realism artist, and if he can't back it up, let him try and do a portrait and find out.
Right.
Right the fuck now. That'll humble you. So many people that think, oh, that shit look easy till they try it, and then they get discouraged as fuck. Like, oh God, this is way harder than I thought,
Or, and I'm agree. So I've always loved like realism and doing it even as a kid. And when I first came into the industry, I shared it. Like, I hated traditional. It seemed simple and dumbed down art to me. As I've matured now, I've just got nothing but love for it. I wear some of it. I appreciate the fuck out of it. I try to do it. And it's funny because the same thing, like, you could be a fucking master oil painter, get a machine in your hand and think like, oh, traditional, it ain't shit, I'm gonna crush this, and fucking have wonked ass fucking lines and fucking trenched out, fucking using too many colors in a color palette and just not even understanding like whip shading. Because I remember the first time I seen things like that, I thought like seeing the MOA, which for our listeners is method of application, like the whip, I thought that was just like the artist not knowing how to have a smooth blend.
Right.
And then I started realizing like it's not supposed to be like that. And they're like, no, dude, it's fucking whip shading. And I'm like, oh, fucking like shit. So it's on purpose. Yeah, it's on purpose. And I'm like, okay, well, I still don't like it. So I had to like grow into it. And that's always been an issue with me is like, because I think even when I played music, like when it was my turn to do a solo, like I had to fucking shred and hit arpeggios and everything. And it's like, no, it can be more loose and heartfelt versus like super technically sound,
Mm-hmm.
So some of it, when we did a tattoo artist we looked up to, one of my favorite artists and still is Winston the Whale. And like, he's got clean fucking lines, saturation, and is very, very original. But he's not like fucking spending 6 hours drawing in the fucking beard,
Yeah, right.
And it fucking works and it's beautiful and I get it. But to do that, if you're a realism artist and you go to tattoo and try to run fucking clean lines like he does and saturate the way he does, and I'm sure it fucking heals beautifully, you're going to have some fucking trouble trying to do that.
Yeah.
So it's either both sides. Just fucking get better and get good and focus on getting good.
Yeah.
The money will fucking come.
But back to your question, when I'd simplify it and say, whenever the fuck you want to, and then the clarity will come in the doing. When pull the trigger, you may fall flat on your face. Those L's that you're taking should be lessons to keep you in the game. When should you raise your prices? The second you feel like you should. And once you do that and you get the feedback, you're going to learn a few things, But go ahead.
Yeah, sorry, but you were saying like when you feel it and you raise your prices, another thing that like you getting that inkling and then following through and raising your prices will do is it's going to pull you up to a higher standard, because it's scary to raise your prices. A lot of us have weird relationships with money. Yeah. So when we do decide to like put our big boy or big girl pants on and fucking step up and raise our prices, it's scary. We get our first client in that agreed to the prices, and holy shit, I can't believe this. I didn't even know I could fucking charge this for this. And you're really gonna fucking dig into that tattoo and try to fucking knock it out of the park, because now that imposter syndrome is like, you're not even worth this, and they're willing to fucking pay it. You better fucking kill this shit.
Step it up, boy.
And that'll happen every time. It has with me. Like, it just progresses and progresses, and I get better. I get better at bedside manner. I get better at acknowledgement, communication. So yeah,
it's awesome.
Next up, we have Phil Oliveira.
Phil Oliveira. I like that. Sounds like a color. What color are my eyes? Phil Oliveira.
Hey, Matt, Hip, and Josh. Thank you guys for putting up this podcast. You guys are extremely inspirational, not only to me, but I will put words into my oldest son and apprentice's mouth. The two of us have not missed an episode. With that having been said, I personally would love to hear more about apprentices and maybe criteria to take on an apprentice as far as what artists should be looking for. I know I have my own personal list. Maybe a little bit more about traveling, specifically about guest spots. Do you stay at a hotel? Do you stay with friends? Do you only guest spot at like friends' shops? Things like that.
Phil, what a fucking honor. Beautiful acknowledgement. That means a lot to us. You and your son, who I'm thinking is also your apprentice, and y'all listen, watch, haven't missed an episode. That's awesome. And now you're on the show. Thanks for playing full on out with us and great questions. Right?
Totally.
We want to hit the first one about apprentices first, or?
Sure.
Or you're wanting to talk about the traveling and guest spots?
Yeah.
Go for it.
Okay. I'll do that. You do apprentices.
Okay.
So traveling and guest spots. Yeah, it may be cool to fucking like do it with some friends and travel and stay in hotels with friends, and even guest spot at friends. Because I've guest spotted at friends. I've also guest spotted at complete strangers. I would be a friend. I would be in favor of building new relationships.
Yeah.
Because ultimately the goal would be to be fucking friends with all the cool shops to be able to go guest spot at them anyway. And it's just building your network. You know, the greater reach you got, the bigger the foundation, the stronger your base is, the higher the point of freedom in tattooing. So,
and when you do, who do you stay with, or where do you stay? Do you hotel or do you stay with friends?
I mean, if friends are in the city where I'm guest spotting, yeah, I'm sure I could do that. But usually I'm pretty independent. So I'm the type of dude that when I show up someplace, I always have my own car. And I usually stay at a Airbnb or a hotel. But yeah, I mean, if I'm in a city where my friends are now, like, I don't know how distinct you were going about like guest spotting with friends. So like, does that mean like, you know, your homie across the way in the same city wants you to guest spot? I mean, I guess you could do that maybe to help show support and like bring awareness to like a new shop.
And it's just fun.
Yeah. But ultimately, like, I'm thinking like more bigger jumps geographical. What's geological? It's like volcanoes and shit.
No, that's this new style of tattoo that our old mentor developed. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, geological.
Okay.
Geologicalism.
Yeah, dope.
Geological, aphroditical, realistic,
that file.
Traditional.
Yep.
But nah, like if you're going to fucking LA and you don't know nobody there, fucking slap hands with some people or go to a convention and meet some people from LA, and if they seem like they vibe with you, then fucking ask for a guest spot. 9 out of 10 times they're gonna say yeah, or even ask before you even ask. So hey man, you should come guest spot at our shop, dude. We're down here in fucking Compton, right on the corner of Crenshaw and fucking some other shit.
And now we're talking about the art form of building relationships. And you can never do that too much, and that's an art form that I love developing mastery in. And it's so rewarding to build relationships and make new friends all over the world. But when you do guest spot, you never know quite what you're walking into until you get there. You know, I know we've even got people on our team that, you know, go out and guest spot all the time, and they may have that place, that city, that shop up on a pedestal and think, man, this is going to be epic, only to arrive and realize, hey, they're flawed and human too, right? But you never know until you get out there and do it, and it's the experience is so fucking beautiful. I'm with you. I'm a hotel guy myself. Anywhere we go, people are like, bro, you can stay with us, you can crash on my pad, whatever. And even though it's a nice gesture, I almost need my recharge alone time, even if it's collapsing in my bed in the middle of the night after a long day. But I like, and wherever we go, wherever I go, people like, well, the whole point is for us to spend time together. Hip, hip, come kick it. Hip, hip, hip. And eventually, hip needs a little just hip time, even if it's just a recharge, and I definitely need my time. And so I'm a huge fan. And I like that you're self-sustainable. You're not showing up like, where's my red carpet?
Right.
Now, because when we have people come guest spot, we like to serve them and take good care of them. Pick them up at the airport, give them rides, take them to dinner, whatever. Have a chauffeur, unless they want to be in their own control. And we've had some artists where we've offered the hilt. No, thank you. I want to rent my own car, and I'll see you at your shop. What's the address, right? And I get it. So to each their own. And you're a traveling guy,
Yeah.
I used to be much more, and it's beautiful. And talking about guest spotting and traveling, that's awesome. And because you can get so inspired and learn so much by being around other artists in different houses, even with conventions. We talked about that before. When you're surrounded by so much greatness and other artists, it can reinvigorate your passion. Talk about guest spotting, though, like guest spotting abroad. Leaving the country to guest spot is even cooler. I guest spotted in Norway once, and it was fucking awesome. And I didn't even know about Norway. It was never on my list, but I got called to. Me and Kyle Cotterman was at the Tattoo Jam in London, and I met some of the Norwegians who invited me over to Norway, right? We walk through one door, all these other doors open to you. Guest spots, opportunities all over the world with new, amazing relationships. And you know what? I did that guest spot in Norway maybe 15 years ago, but I know if I called them today, they would have me back tomorrow.
You're like, who? Who is this? Yeah, you need to come back here and fix the shit you fucking did 15 years ago.
Yeah, I need that touch up. Yeah, so traveling's fun. And you, Phil, you and your son getting to travel together would be cool too, I bet. So to apprentices, and I love that. One, he's like the criteria of what you look for. Well, and we've shared it before, in anything, what we're looking for. We're looking at the heart and the character of a man or a woman, for one. Two, are they hungry, which most act like they are, but are they coachable? Because so many will say, yeah, man, I'm hungry, I'm coachable, teach me. But then their willingness, if their willingness is a low, they're not coachable. And then even more importantly, if their willingness to implement change in their life is at a zero, you're not coachable at all. And this even goes true to my TBM students. Yeah, I don't care if you've been tattooing 25 years. If you want our coaching to help you get to the next level, if we can show you the way, but if you're not willing to make any changes in your life, you're not fucking coachable at all. So that's a huge one for us, right? How hungry and coachable is someone, and is their willingness pegged on 10, and is their fence knob turned off, right? Even people like, because no matter where they're at, even apprentices will show up with their portfolio, and you can always tell the difference. The ones that have an empty cup that really want to be great, and the ones that already need stroked. Like, bro, critique me. But then they get butt hurt the moment you don't just say all their shit's amazing, right? And that just tells us more of where they're at. And we have to decide we even got fucking time. Because it already takes time to take somebody on and to pour into. We don't have the extra time to talk them into really being coachable, right? So those character things we look at first and foremost, because it weeds out all kinds of other shit. So I would say that's high on our criteria list on who we even want to give a shot, right?
Totally.
We also take pride. I take pride in hiring what I believe other shops wouldn't even give a chance. Whether they didn't fit the mold, whether they didn't seem cool enough, whether they seemed like didn't have the look like a fucking librarian, that I would never guess this guy or this gal's a tattooer. I like finding diamonds in the rough and hiring who I know most wouldn't even give a shot, and then making them a badass. That's fun too. But what were you going to say?
Nothing. I was just thinking, like, Because I've heard of cases of like shops fucking, you know, I mean, you fucking experienced it with Brenner when you went to him. He was like, basically like, fucking, if you ain't cool by Sunday, I'm keeping your fucking money and you can fucking kick rocks. So like, I just, one, yeah, I guess that way works, but there's, you know, always a plethora of ways to do things, and you can be an authority and fucking hold down the tradition and the fundamentals in compassion and love, because I imagine that the shops are people that did it like the old school way and be like, yeah, let's see what you got, and fucking just basically it's just a money grab, and they had no intention of hiring them anyway. Now what they've done is birthed a fucking scratcher that's gonna be like, fuck this industry, they're all a bunch of fucking dickheads, I'm gonna go do it on my own and learn the horrible way. Because you know, like, tattooing's sacred, and it's sacred to me, and it's been a craft that for the most part has had gatekeepers, and there's no longer like gatekeepers, but there still are to an extent, but it's more accessible now, I guess, you know, for technology and the way things are moving. But again, we want to leave it better than we found it, so like, why spoil someone's the way that they view the industry is, only to find out that it's this way, and that they've met the rotten apple, and now they think the rest of the industry. Because I was that way, you know what I'm saying? I asked this one dude right after I got out of prison, like, well, what do I got to do to be an apprentice? He's like, fuck, I ain't gonna apprentice you. Every apprentice I teach leaves. And I just remember thinking like, ugh. And then I would talk to other artists, and because they found out that like I was fucking scratching a little bit in prison, which I get now, that like that was frowned upon, but just the attitude about it, and was like, fuck you, made me resentful, and like, well, fucking, I'm gonna do it myself, and wasted more of my time trying to do it on my own versus like getting help and doing it the proper way and paying homage to the industry that now puts food and clothes on my back. So yeah, I don't know where I was going with that. I just know that an apprentice should be something, you know, one, it's a blessing, because like you're good enough, I'm good enough that someone wants to learn from me. That's honorable. And two, it's like, you know, it's like taking on a dog or having a fucking baby. There's a lot of responsibilities that come with it, and it's not just simply like, oh, I got someone to fucking pay me to sweep and clean my tubes. I said tubes. That's funny. But to break down my station and clean the shop, it's not like free labor. It's like it's a responsibility you're gonna have to take on. So,
right.
Yeah.
The response. That's why when you called it a money grab, I'm like, psh, we don't get paid enough. Like for something like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you gonna pay me just a few $1,000 to have a new child?
Right.
Like, nah, I can make that elsewhere for taking on this whole responsibility. But I think you're talking about the dudes that aren't true leaders, just going to take an apprenticeship money for their money, knowing that they ain't going to really develop them anyways. But man, shoot,
But really, all you're doing is hurting the industry, because now there's someone else out there that's going to develop bad habits and fuck up people's skin.
I didn't even realize, I guess, to the degree that even happened, that I can't even relate to that.
Right.
You know?
Well, and you know, it has to, if you think about it.
Man.
Because, you know, if a motherfucker just took my fucking 3, 5, 6, whatever fucking amount of money and was just like, fuck you. Yeah, maybe I wasn't willing enough or whatever, but also there's like two sides at play here. So like,
yeah,
you know, fucking, there's a lot of nasty motherfuckers, and I can see some old school dude like, yeah, I'm just about to make this fucking 5 stacks real quick, tell this dude to fucking beat feet, and that dude leaves resentful and now tries to do it on his own and fucking fucks up for so long, and you know, then he gets an apprentice and he ain't ever had a proper apprenticeship, and he's teaching bad habits, and that births like a whole fucking vile fucking
no thank you.
Yeah.
So another thing that we've learned is the importance of heeding your inner voice, right? Your gut instinct. Usually when we meet somebody, we'll get like a gut instinct. And you know, I converse about it all the time. Why we're taking this person on and why we're not taking this one on. They both could be great, but something on the inside is telling us to say yes to this guy And something on the inside is telling us to say no to this one. And developing and trusting that, I think, is important, right? This is after or at the same time that we're looking at their character, their hunger level, coachability index, all of that. So let's take this conversation into the next stage. Other than prerequisites to who to even hire as an apprentice, now let's take it into what do you do with them when you have them? Because he was talking about he's got his list of like protocol and stuff, but what's some of ours, right? And for time's sake, because we've been going for a while, I'm just going to give you like my top 3 things that I think are the best how you can develop your apprentice. Now, this is after them knowing cross-contamination, because that's always first, right? Learn cross-contamination, what to touch, what not to when you touch this and all that. You know, we're trying to keep the whole shop sterile and clean. We don't need someone fucking up. So obviously cross-contamination is always at the top of the list. Let's say your apprentice knows how to take out the trash and break down machines and all that shit, knows cross-contamination and how to implement it, right? Now in developing them, you know, we've heard the thing where it says like, you know, I heard John C. Maxwell say this once, sharing the statistic that if you focus on one thing for 1 hour a day for 5 years, at 5 years you will be considered an expert at that thing, right? And so with an apprenticeship, whether the average apprenticeship at your place is 12 months or whatever the arbitrary cookie cutter window of time, let's just say for argument's sake, whatever, for example, the average apprenticeship here in America is 12 months, because abroad, I mean, I was in Norway meeting apprentices that were on year 4 and year 5. Other parts of the country, apprenticeship lasts years. Here in America, apprentices after a few months start getting itchy, right? But they're focused on the question of how much longer until right? So the person that's even like, I'm going to focus on this 1 hour a day for 5 years to become an expert, they throw themselves in the same question. Okay, 5 years, now I'm at 4 years, now I'm down at 3 years. Like, how much longer? I'm looking at my own time before I can be that thing. And they're really living in the wrong question, I believe. In the second you can switch your mindset from asking the question of how much longer, and apprentices fall into this trap big time, and to cross over into how much could I grow and how far could I go, and not even worry about the time. Those are the ones that explode, and somehow time becomes malleable and wraps around them, and they become the experts quicker than the ones focused on the time. When they're focused and they have a growth mindset versus a time length mindset. So that's one. Because so many apprentices throw themselves into, in the beginning, like this waiting room. Man, I just can't wait till I can touch a machine. Can't wait till they put me on grapefruits or fake skin. When am I going to get to, right?
That's probably some American shit, though, too.
Maybe.
Like, you know, just fucking want it now, instant gratification, like fucking give me trophy.
Now, we get the excitement.
Yeah.
But we already started this relationship out with letting you know, on average, it could take 12 months or more. But they rob themselves of the beauty of that time. It's purposeful. How do they rob themselves? Because they think they can't do any of these things or be a tattoo artist until they got a machine in their hands. And we're all about helping them be it now. Don't wait until we teach you how to play the guitar for you to start writing your album. If you're really an artist, if you really have a song in your heart, in your head, you should be able to start writing your songs now. Oh, we'll teach you how to play them, but you can already create them. You can go ahead, especially with technology today, and start designing sleeves, back pieces, torsos, whatever. Yeah, you don't know how to tattoo it yet, but are you already an artist? You can already be an artist. You can already be a visionary. You can already be a body artist, especially with today's technology where you can take an arm digitally and morph it into your iPad and design it, right? Why not go ahead and be the artist that you want to be? Fast forward in your head out 3-5 years and pretend you have arrived at the place where you can actually tattoo the way you always wanted to tattoo. Now bring yourself back into your apprenticeship seat right now. Be that artist from a designer standpoint right now. Declare, one day I'm going to take tattoo of the day with this shin rocker right here. One day I'm going to do this piece at a show, and create those pieces now. Create your flash now, a plethora of it. So when you do get a machine in your hand and your mentor or whoever is going to help you start learning how to tattoo it, you've already got your own flash, your own portfolio, your own custom designs and pieces ready to fucking go. Instead of waiting until you got a machine in your hands to even think about those things. So that's one. Be it now. Pretend it now. What's another great way? I mean, I can't stress that enough, because we can still have so many, even when you're a good tattooer, even when you're a great tattooer, the game usually falls on your design. If you can tattoo anything, it's only going to be as cool as your ability to create something cool. Mm-hmm. So there's no putting the brakes on you becoming an amazing artist and developing your skills, let alone an amazing tattoo designer. Right the fuck now, right? Mm-hmm. Even if it's flash, I don't care. If it's lettering, own every BJ Betts book, every Big Meese book, fucking, and the list goes on. Who do you want to be? What type of artist do you want to be? What type of pieces do you... And so that's another assignment. Every one of our apprentices has a folder. And, part of their assignment is to fill that folder with your own work and or designs or future styles or artists that you want to tattoo like or emulate. Anything you want to be known for, you want us to teach you how to tattoo, start compiling that now and put it in your folder, right? Mm-hmm. Be it now. We'll teach you how to implement it, but you can start shining as an artist now. So that's one. Then phase 2 is we have them shadow the actual artist in the house. And shadow meaning shadow on the consultation. So if we got an apprentice that's shadowing an actual artist with an actual consultation, and it's the apprentice's job, other than like serving the people, is to pretend it's your consultation. And so when you hear the consultation going down, if you're my apprentice, I want you to pretend like it's actually your consultation. You've got to come up with the design by the deadline, all of that. When that consultation leaves, you need to go straight to doing what the real artist just said he would do, whether it's have a design ready by Tuesday, design this sleeve. I'm going to take your ideas from these birds that represent your grandmother to these flowers that represent your daughter to this picture they brought in and come up with a nice shoulder piece, whatever the case may be. If you're an apprentice, pretend you are the tattooer and now this is on you. Here's your challenge. Go design it. Go be it. And then we'll have a reference to now build off of, to have a communication or conversation from. I hate it when apprentices, artists, come up to us empty-handed. Yo, I got this 3/4 sleeve. Man, will you help me? I got this 3/4 sleeve I got to do. Really? What is it? They're showing me nothing. They're just going to tell me, well, he wants birds and this. Don't come to me fucking empty-handed. Go ahead and design it. Do something. Bring something to us. Now we've got a point of reference to communicate from. Okay, well, how about we make these flowers bigger? Let's lose this. Let's blur the left side, bump up the contrast, whatever. Now we can grow because we have a reference point. So have your apprentices be the designer now. Have them be the mad shadowers of every artist in the house. And we let our apprentices pick. Who do you want to shadow? Who do you want to, right? But then the pressure's on. You really want to be a tattooer? Be one today. Pretend you are and it's on you. But we'll take it as far as if one of our apprentices shadows and goes back and does a design, if it's fucking good enough, watch the actual artist just might use their design instead of their own.
Steal that shit.
You know what I'm saying? I remember the first time I designed it, because when I was an apprentice, I was pretending myself. I did this shit myself. No one asked me to. I was just fucking hungry. And I'll never forget the time I went with, and this was in the color pencil days, we didn't have tablets, and drew something up, was sketching it with color pencils, and took it to the artist to try and help him. You think the client, I overheard the client, you think they might like something like this? And the artist, and it was Tony, Papa Tony. And he loved it, and he took it, and he tattooed my piece on them. And man, I was so overjoyed. To me, it was like the first real tattoo I designed, and it was good enough he actually tattooed it on somebody. Those are two things you can have your apprentices do. And the third thing I have apprentices do is shop messaging. At the same time, as you're learning your technical ability and you're focused on the artist, we got to help you focus on your customer service and your skills and your ability to consult. And so we throw you right into shop emails too, with helping and oversee you. We also, I'm big on them being in the front of the house, being the greeters, to be able to like make people feel welcome. And it's usually helping apprentices practice getting comfortable doing that. Saying hello, because already apprentices come in, they feel low on the totem pole and they're timid and stuff, and we want them to come out their shell. I've had apprentices that could barely.
Dude, I'm apprentices, but you got weird ass fucking closed off, non-confrontational tattoo artists too.
That's right.
Fucking
right.
boatloads of them.
Right.
I can't tell you how many times I've walked into a tattoo shop and actual tattoo artist wouldn't even acknowledge me. There's been a time where they were playing fucking Minecraft and told me to like step aside, and they didn't know who I was. They didn't know I was like a tattoo artist that worked in a shop, but it was just like mind blowing to me because I could be in there with fucking 20 grand in my pocket ready to pay. But not now.
Right. No shit, man. No shit. And this isn't about making anyone become someone they're not.
Right.
But it's developing them and growth. So even the apprentices that are, or artists that are timid as fuck, couldn't look me in the eye, shake my hand, I literally would make them walk in the studio every day and shake my hand, look me in the eyes, and introduce themselves with a level of certainty about who they are. And when they wouldn't hit it right, I'd be like, that was a good try. Why don't you try it again? Walk back out those doors and come back in and do that again. And one in particular, I would make reintroduce themselves to me every day for like months. But that was putting in the reps, developing. And this was a girl. And she got so used to it, putting in those reps, she started to gain some confidence and self-esteem. At the same time, borrowing my confidence and belief in her for herself. I saw her as worthy, so she started to borrow that until she started to believe it, right? And man, now she can walk in so much power and introduce herself and look anyone in the eye, right? It's our job as shepherds, as fathers, to develop them. But don't get caught in this arbitrary waiting room that your hands are tied and all the shop duties are done and you're just fucking twiddling thumbs, sketching and depressed, you know what I'm saying, and call yourself hungry, you know. So I think those were three that I just gave my top three.
Yeah. To
empower them to be it now. You can be everything that a tattooer is, minus the actual machine in your hand. Well, I got news for you. Being a tattooer is a lot than just having a machine in your hand. Now that's a big part of it, but don't wait till you get a machine in your hand to try and learn it all. Learn it all now so that when you get a machine in your hand, you're already that further along. You're a great designer. You know layouts. You know how to talk to people. You know how to consult. You know how to message people. So now when we get a machine in your hand, it's fucking go time. You know? Hopefully that helps, Phil. And Phil's son apprentice. You going to start shadowing brothers? You going to start designing? Hopefully. Yeah.
Man, there's been some great questions.
Yeah, fun idea. Just have Mike fire them off to us without, you know, because I'm a guy, I like to get prepared. And Hip's like, no, we don't want to know. I'm like, oh, okay, we'll see how this goes.
And I mean, he could have played them for you, but I would have stepped out just because I want to be more organic with it. And just, even if there's like some hate mail, that'd be interesting, I think, you know. Not saying that we want any, just let that come organic and natural too. But yeah, listeners, viewers, tell us if you like it. And we'll keep doing it. I think it's fun, and it gives a chance to shout you out, you know, the ones who are important as well, because you're the guardians.
Big time.
We have fun doing this. And shout out to everybody that's been buying us coffee. We appreciate it. So cheers to y'all.
Man, for real. I'm telling you, you guys' love and support mean a lot and keep us going. Just like you. If you think something good about somebody, say it. We all need to hear it, even us. And your guys' acknowledgments tonight has really filled me up, so thank you. Till next week, tune in. Thanks, y'all. We love you. We'll see you next week.
Man, what time is it? 12:14 a.m. Matt, I don't know about you, but I like coffee.
You know I do every day, all day.
Man, and I could go for one right now. So our listeners, did you know that you can buy us a coffee?
For real?
Yeah. All
Why would they do that?
Well, if you like what we do and you support our show and you appreciate our content, you can just go and click that little button that our producer Mike puts in every show and buy us a coffee just to show your contribution that you appreciate what we do for you to help us out.
People can really buy us a coffee?
Totally.
I would be honored if you bought me a coffee.
And not only that, but we got a little spot. It's special for the VIP listeners. It's called Close Friends on Instagram. And on there, you can see some behind the scenes content. And when the cameras ain't running, seeing all the shit we'd be talking about each other.
Is that true, Mike? Damn, you guys, this is the first I've heard about either of these. So they can buy you or me a coffee.
Or Mr. Carlton.
Or Mr. Carlton. And like get a sneak peek behind the scenes.
Yeah.
By doing what again?
Fucking smashing that button.
Okay. What button you talking about? I want to smash the button.
It's the button on the fucking thing.
Okay. Do it. Just do it.
Absolutely demolish the button. But thanks for your time again, and we appreciate all our listeners.
Always.